Imagine living in a world where people are waiting for something better, a world with conflict, uncertainty, and moments when hope feels far away. Now imagine being told that one day, someone would come who could change everything, a leader unlike any other, whose arrival would bring peace, justice, and light. This is the heart of one of the most powerful prophecies in the Bible, the prophecy of the Messiah. Today, we're going back more than 700 years before Jesus was born to meet a man named Isaiah, a prophet who delivered a promise that would echo through history and continue to inspire millions to this day. Isaiah lived during a time of trouble. The nation of Israel was facing threats from powerful enemies, and inside their own borders, people were divided, anxious, and unsure of the future. Into this tense moment, God called Isaiah to be his messenger, a voice that would speak truth, correction, and most importantly, hope. Isaiah wasn't a fortune teller or a mystic. He was someone chosen to deliver a message that God had not abandoned his people, even when life felt dark and uncertain. And among all of Isaiah's messages, one prophecy stood out above the rest. Not because it was the longest, but because it promised something incredible, a future savior. One day, Isaiah shared a prophecy that sounded impossible at the time. He said, "A child will be born to us, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." These weren't just poetic titles, they were shocking. People were expecting a warrior, a military hero, a king who would crush their enemies. But Isaiah described something very different. A child who would bring wisdom, a child who would carry the power of God, a child who would bring peace that lasts. Isaiah also said this child would come as a light in the darkness, for people who felt lost, overwhelmed, or forgotten. For generations, families repeated this prophecy. Parents told it to their children, leaders reminded their people. Everyone wondered, when will this child come? Who will he be? How will God keep this promise? As Isaiah continued to speak, his message became even more surprising. He said the Messiah, the promised Savior, would not just come for the strong, the wealthy, or the powerful. He would come for everyone, for the brokenhearted, for the worn out, for the people who felt far from God, for those who had made mistakes and didn't think they deserved another chance. Isaiah described the Messiah as someone who would bring good news to the poor, comfort to those who mourn, and freedom to those who felt trapped by guilt or fear. This was not a savior who came to rule through violence. This was a savior who would rule through love, compassion, and truth. Isaiah's prophecy painted a picture of hope, unlike anything people had heard before. Isaiah lived his whole life never seeing the Messiah arrive. Generations passed. Empires rose and fell. People wondered if the prophecy had been forgotten. But the promise didn't fade. It spread. It shaped songs, prayers, and expectations. It gave courage during hard times. It reminded people that God was still writing the story. And then, centuries later, in a quiet town called Bethlehem, a young woman named Mary gave birth to a baby boy. People who knew Isaiah's words recognized the signs immediately. A child, born in humility, a bringer of peace, a light in the darkness. Christians believe that this child, Jesus, was the fulfillment of the promise Isaiah had spoken so long before. Whether you come from a faith background or you're just curious about these ancient stories, the prophecy of the Messiah carries a message that still speaks today. It reminds us that hope can begin in unlikely places. Light can shine even in our darkest seasons. Peace often starts small, like a child, yet grows into something powerful. Isaiah's prophecy isn't just about predicting the future. It's about pointing to a deeper truth, that even when life feels uncertain, we can hold on to hope, because something better may be on the way. And in the Christian story, that something better is someone, a Messiah, a bringer of peace, a light for all people. This is the prophecy of the Messiah, an ancient promise that continues to inspire, comfort, and challenge us today.